this video, let's see the other half of the lesson.
So coming to the next source, that is not like a man's head. What does it mean? It means coconut. So Ibn Battuta is the same one who's referring to coconut. So he says that they are looking exactly like palm leaves, date palms. Okay, so how is, because he is familiar with date palms, so he is comparing it with that. Okay, so he's saying that the fruit has eyes, two eyes, a mouth, hair. That is, the fiber is being described as hair. So he's comparing it with like literally the human being, and he's also talking about the uses of those coconut. So next is about pan. So pan, he's again comparing it with grapevine. He says that it has no fruit. The use is only from the leaves. Okay. So the areca nut will be used with the chalk. Okay, so that is how we eat the pan, right? Like literal pan, how we consume we Indians. So similarly, he is describing with so much curiosities. Okay, so coming to the next thing about Delhi, so it was referred as Delhi in the text, and we know that even today it had a large population. Even so many years before, it had a large population, and there are houses, storehouses, horsemen as well as infantry around, and the rampart, there is a piercing there through the window, and the light enters through that, and that would be good, right? And here you can see the arc of Tughlaqabad, which is in Delhi. And yeah, the gate, there were also some important gates. There were about 28 gates, and one of the greatest was the Angul Darwaza, was an orchard. So these are some important darwazas or gates. Okay, so that is the thing. And here you can see the fortification wall. This is a part of fortification wall. And this one, okay, so this is ikat. It's a weaving pattern. So this was adopted and modified in Southeast Asia and the subcontinent of Southeast Asia. Next, music in the market. So we know bazaars were not only for economical purposes, but it was for social and cultural purposes also, right? So that is what is here. And Daulatabad, as we know, is in Maharashtra. And here there is a place, a market, which is known as Tarababad. And this is the greatest and the beautiful most beautiful bazaars, and they're always decorated with so many things like carpet, shops all around, and female singers. And the chief of the musician takes his place every Thursday after the dawn prayers. After the sunset, the chief musician, he takes place every Thursday, and he is accompanied by his servant and slaves. And the Hindu rulers and Muslim rulers, whenever they passed through this place, they used to visit the place, and they used to enjoy the music and the dance held there. Okay, coming to the next thing, the strange nation. Okay, so Abul Rasak, when he came to Calicut, that is in Kerala, what he saw was the temple was full of he was very much admired by the temple. So he saw an idol house, which was like not to be found all around the world. It was not common to be found, and there was a statue in the likeliness of a human being. It was like human being that was made out of gold, and red rubies were used for the eyes. So it was so cunningly made that you would be like very much astonished by that, and you would say like, what craft and artmanship that you saw and all that. Okay, coming to the next thing, that is communication. So this is about communication. So this is about the system of communication. There were there were two kinds of communication, postal system basically. Uluk is for through horse, and dawa was through foot. So food post, how the food post work is being explained. And yeah, so that was so fast, it was so very much planned, and it was so systematic that it was reaching there in time, and before the horses, even the food posts were able to reach. And sometimes it was used to transfer the fruits to India. Okay, so next, coming to widespread poverty. So poverty, who says very much about poverty is all we know. It is Francois Berneir. So that is what it is mentioned about. So yeah, Pelsarit, a Dutch traveler, he visited the subcontinent during the early decades of the 17th century. He comes in the 17th century. So like Berneir, what happened was he was shocked to see the widespread poverty, and he explains how the poverty was. And he says the state should hold the responsibility, and also there were so many things that very scarcely only the people were able to fill up their stomachs. Okay, so next is about the poor peasant, that is about the peasantry that was present in the countryside. So they say that they were badly cultivated and it was thinly populated, and the poor people, when they become incapable of discharging the demands of the lords who were so greedy, so sometimes what happens, they were not able to give up, they're not able to produce what was demanded, so they would lose their children as slaves. So children would become slaves if they didn't obey the demands of the landlords. So there were debates in Europe, and Berneir said strongly that Mughal India would serve as a warning to those who do not recognize the merits of private property. So see, private property is something which is to be appreciated. Okay, so there are so many merits, so better Europe follow the private property is what Berneir is advising to them. And yeah, so you can see the unchanging rural society example. Okay, a warning for Europe. So again he's giving a lot of warning, Berneir. So he says that our king is Europe kings to him, and they would soon to be kings of the desert and solitudes of beggars and barbarians. These are the Mughal kings. Okay, so he says our king, so European kings, please be warned by seeing the Mughal king how bad they are and all that. And he's relating to private ownership of land, and he's saying it is all ruined and nobody is taking they're not taking care of repairing them because it's abandoned. Why? Because private ownership of land is not there, is the problem. Okay, now coming to this one, so this is a very, very beautiful golden spoon, you can see. So this was done by Mughal artisans. Okay, so next is going to be source 13, a different socio-economic scenario. So this is about the craft production and agriculture. So he says that the soil is like very fertile, especially in Bengal, and Bengal is so great than Egypt itself. So for example, silk, cotton, indigo are all so well cultivated in the kingdom of Bengal, and also various sort of silk, cotton goods which are used in the country, or it can be exported abroad. So there are so many types of silk and cotton which are being exported to abroad. Okay, so next thing is about the imperial karkhanas. So karkhanas is the place where workshops of artisans are there, and also you can see embroiders, goldsmith, painters, varnishers, and a lot of shoemakers, manufacturers of silk, muslin, and all that. No one is aspiring for any improvement in the condition of life, because they know the condition of their artworks or their life quality is not going to increase. Okay, so the next thing is about slave women. So Ibn Battuta, he says that so the emperor always want to keep an eye on every noble, so he appointed 1 or 2 slave women, and they were the spy. So they were spying against the nobles, and they were informing if there was something bad against the emperor and all that to the emperor. So these people wouldn't know that is the people, the ministers or the nobles wouldn't know that. So next is child sati. So this is really depressing to read. So Berneir says that once he was there was a very beautiful young widow who was sacrificed, and she was about 12 years old, and that poor little creature, she appeared more dead than alive, because once what happened was she didn't want to go and die, go into the fire or the sati thing. So the 3 or 4 brahmanas, so these brahmanas framed the rules. Okay, so yeah, so they said this should happen. Okay, and they were assisted by a old women, and they were taken her under their arms, and they were forced to go into the fatal spot, that is the burning spot. Okay, so and also when she tried to stretch herself and escape herself, what did they do was they tied her hands and feet, and so that she's not going to run away. So in that situation, the innocent creature was burnt alive, and Berneir was very much helpless, and he wasn't able to prevent the situation. So he's saying that is really bad. So this is what is all about. And here the last one is the Mathura sculpture. This is depicting the travelers. Okay. How, see, you can see the cart and all that. So through horses they come, how did they travel? So this is the lesson. So that's all. Thank you so much.